Hello and welcome back to another part of creating a custom map in Minecraft 1.9. So last episode I described everything that we're going to be doing here, and I showed off this old command block structure that I created earlier that we're going to be converting to 1.9 with the new command blocks and everything. So I removed the bedrock here so it's easier to look at, and I went through this a little bit more to refresh my memory on everything that's going on. And yeah, actually most of the stuff still works, but I can do this a lot better, and there's a couple things that I want to add to it that I can't really add to it the way it is right now. So the only thing that doesn't work at the moment is in 1.8 before the 1.8.6 release. Dispensers would drop command blocks, or actually would place command blocks down, not drop them as an item. So these command blocks all had commands in them, and they would randomly choose between one of these 9 command blocks, and then randomly those commands would set a redstone block on one of these random dispensers, and then these dispensers all also had 9 command blocks in them that would randomly choose one of these 81 tasks. So it was an easy way to make a random number generator to choose the random tasks that I wanted to have. But the problem is now, if I go ahead and activate this, oh, that's still being powered. There we go. See, that does not happen anymore. It just drops it as an item, and apparently that was due to some security risk. I'm not really sure exactly how that would affect anything at all, but yeah, so that apparently had to be removed. But they did say that they're going to be maybe doing something to add random numbers in 1.9. So I think I'm just going to hold off on trying to fix this for right now, and we'll come to it when we can. There are ways of still creating random numbers, but they're really actually pretty complicated, and they would take me a long time. So if they add just like a random command, that would be a lot easier for me. So we'll hold off until we have to come to that, and if we get there and there's still no easy way of making a random number generator, then we'll have to go the a little more complicated route. But I did spend some time to look at what I had and what I can make better with the new command blocks, and man, the new command blocks are amazing. So each one of these repeaters here connects to one of these command block segments, and then each one of these segments, this like 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 by 9 area here is the area, is the place that sets a task. And some of the more complicated tasks come out a little bit more, like this one, but for the most part, they're just these 1 by 9 structures here, 1 by 9 by 4. And this is how I set a task. Basically, all it does is it resets the task, sets the scoreboard, and then starts a clock to detect when the task is finished. And then when it's finished, it does a couple more things, like sets a variable for task complete to 1. So if I go ahead and place a redstone block here, you'll see you must kill 10 creepers before I expand the border. So that lets you know that this task is the one that is being activated. As you see on my sidebar here, it lets me know that that's the task that's activated, and if I kill some creepers, it will actually go up. And then this clock right here, you see if I break that, that's actually pulsing extremely fast, once per tick. And that is detecting whether or not I've killed at least 10 creepers. So, and then this comparator will turn on once that happens. So let's go ahead and do scoreboard, players, set, me. We want to do creeper kills. Creeper kills, we'll set that to 10. And you'll see that'll go on, and we'll activate this. And it shuts off right away because it deletes it, because I don't want this to continue to be powered while this clock is still running. And this clock is going to keep running actually until we finish the task, so we turn it in. So this clock is actually going to keep running, and there was just not really an easy way for me to stop that. But yeah, so it gets rid of this comparator so it doesn't keep pulsing, and then the task is complete, so it sets task complete to 1. So this is as small as I wanted to make it when I was making this the first time, and I bet I could make it more compact, but not that much more compact. It's pretty compact. So we'll go ahead and shut that off, and then that will shut off the clock. So once we turn the task, it'll delete that block, and then it'll shut off the clock. So, only one task is running at one time, but it still continues to run even after you complete the task. So what I did was I did this all in with the new command blocks. So this 1 by 9 by 4 has been converted to this, just 2 by 4 by 1, 1 by 2 by 4. This command block structure here does the exact same thing as that. It's got a clock, well, kind of, with this repeating command block. It sets the task, it clears the scoreboard and everything. So yeah, let's just go ahead and set this. We'll put it. All we have to do is put a redstone block there instead of right there. As you can see, this thing turns on. And it's now running. As you can see, it reset my statistics over here back to 0 because it set everything up. And now here's the thing. This is not a clock. Those redstone blocks are not being placed randomly. Those are just there. There's no block updates going on right here. So this is much, much better for lag. Even though it was just with the one block pulsing, no blocks pulsing is much, much better. So this is the setup when it's on right here, and since this is a repeating command block, it is detecting whether or not I've killed 10 creepers. So basically what happens here is when you power this block, this is the only one that can get powered, it sets the creeper kills to 0, and it says the little message here, and then it sets the sidebar to creeper kills, and then it sets the redstone block to right here. So that's why it duplicates the redstone block there. And that turns on this clock, or not the clock even, it's just it's going to keep sending this command every tick to detect whether or not I've killed 10 creepers. And so this is amazing, okay? Now we have conditional mode with these chain command blocks here. Actually, it works with the other ones too. But what the conditional mode does is it looks at the command block behind it, and it will not activate unless the command block behind it has activated. So instead of having to put a comparator with like I had over there, instead of having to put a comparator, all you need to do is put the command block, put it on conditional mode, and you just have to make sure the command block is right behind it. Now the only issue with this is you can't do any turns. Because if I do a turn, I would have to put a command block like that, okay? So then the problem is if I put this one on conditional, this command block is not behind it. So it breaks the chain of the turn here. So I'm not sure if there's an easy way to actually continue this line, because every subsequent next command block here has to also be conditional if the first one is conditional, or else even if this one's not set to conditional, it's going to let the power run through. It's going to skip over this one because this one is conditional, but the power is still going to run through. So every single one needs to be conditional, but if this one doesn't have a command block behind it that's powered on, it's not going to work. So you can't do turns, which is actually a bit of an issue. I'd be interested to see if you can get how the arrows, these command blocks are just one direction. I wonder if you can get two directional ones, so you kind of have a right angle command block, similar to like minecart tracks or something like that. That would be interesting. But for now, this is just fine because we just have this short distance here. So yeah, once this gets activated, once my score is between these two numbers, the maximum here and the minimum of 10. So once I kill 10 creepers, then all these command blocks are going to activate, and that's just sets task complete to 1. Scoreboard. Yeah, okay, so it sets it to 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I clicked on the wrong one there. So first of all, it deletes the redstone blocks. So once I do that, it'll actually delete those redstone blocks, and that's what this one does. Then it'll set it to 1, and then it will give you a little message. So if I go ahead and set my creeper kills to 10, it's going to delete both command blocks, and now the system is off. It is not currently running the clock anymore, or running the command. I keep saying clock. It's not really a clock. So it's going to not run the command anymore. So this is off, and I'm good to turn in my task. So as you can see, these new command blocks are going to be much, much nicer. So next thing is this whole mess up here, and this can definitely be made more compact. But most of the stuff here, up here are just if-then statements or if-then-else statements. So when I start this up here, it actually starts right here. This is the beginning. It does a little bit of a test to see if if the time limit is up. So that means you can't get a task right after another one. So if after you complete a task, you have to wait a half hour or something before you can start the next task. So this will detect that, and if the time limit is not up, it's then going to detect whether you have a task or whether you've completed a task or whether you failed a task. And that's just because it's going to give you different messages. So if you failed a task, it's going to say you've disappointed me, and if you've recently completed a task, it's going to say I've already been appeased, come back later. So here's an if statement saying, is the time limit up? If it's not up, then it's going to come over here and do this if statement, and then it's going to choose the command. And if the time is up, so you can get into the task, it's going to come forward this way, and then there's going to be another if statement here, which tests to see if you already have a task. So if the if the time limit is up and you already have a task, it's going to come this way, and then there's going to be another if statement, and it's going to detect, do you have you completed the task? If you have completed the task, then it's going to go over and do the completed the task information, and if you haven't completed the task, it's going to say come back when you've completed your task. And then on the other side, if you don't have a task and the time limit up, well, it's going to give you a task, and that's when it's going to go over to the dispenser here and pick a random task for you and give it to you. So that's basically what's going on. It's definitely not as compact as it could be, but it worked. So that has basically been translated to this. And if statements have been made much, much easier now simply because we don't need to have these comparators. We don't need to have comparators and then redstone and everything like that. All you need to do, these 4 blocks right here, this is an if statement. These are the 2 outputs. These are the 2 conditions. So it's a true or false. True condition, false condition. So if I press this button here, that's it. That's all it does. On this side, we've got, it's going to test to see if the score is less than 0, I think. Or is it greater than 0? This is, this is the minimum. So the minimum has to be 0. So that means if the score is greater than 0, this one's going to output. If the score, this one's less than 0, so if the maximum, it doesn't say maximum, but this means maximum. So if it's got a maximum of 0, so it means it's less than 0, basically, then that means it's going to do this one. So this if statement is if the time limit is up, basically. This is true, it's greater than 0. This is false, it's less than 0. Because the way I've actually got the time set up, let's get that up there. Scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, I want time limit. And it actually doesn't look like the time limit is currently running. Let me get a redstone block and turn this on. There we go. So that's my time limit. So the time limit actually counts up, and then when the time limit, so to set like 20 minutes or something, I forget the actual time, but if I do scoreboard, players, set, classic Tim, time limit to negative 50,000. Okay, so that's the time limit. That means that I currently cannot get a task, and once that hits 0 again, I'll be able to get a task again. It's just easier to have that counting up. So once that hits 0, then this will go through. So now that I've actually changed it, it's now a negative number, so this one's going to activate instead. So you see, instead of this one turning into a redstone block, that one's going to turn into a redstone block. That then we basically just have these chain command blocks here on conditional mode, pointed in the right direction here, and this button will power actually both command blocks. So that's important. Both command blocks have to be powered. So I've got it set up here so they just follow off here, but I just have this being set as a redstone block. So you can have the outputs coming off of this in any direction. You can even have it set right on top of it, and you can make this very compact. Pretty much every airspace can be filled with this setup here. The reason I did it just like this is so it's easy to see, and you can't have, like I said before, you can't have conditional command blocks with turns. So it's easier to have this set a redstone block there, and then you can get turns in there because that's no longer conditional. The redstone block breaks that. But I'm just gonna lay this all out flat, and then when I'm done with the whole system here, I can compact it and kind of stack them up on top of each other and make it really, really compact. For now, this is fine. So basically, these if statements are basically doing everything that's going on up there. So it's going to set, so these are going to ask, okay, is time limit up? If it is, then it's going to come over here. And then we've got another if statement here. This redstone block is going to power this one, which sets this back to a stone brick so it can get powered again. And then here's the new if statement. And this is the same thing as this command block. It's just it's an unconditional chain command block, just so it's going to continue from this one, so that way you don't have to power both of these, just so that way both of these get power from this redstone block. So yeah, then this is the new if statement, and this is going to test to see if it's either appeased or not appeased. And like I said up there, that just depends on the output. So I've already been appeased, come back later, or you've just disappointed me. So this is the false or true options here. So if the time limit is up, then it's going to come over here. Actually, let's see, does that work at the moment? Yeah, it does. So I've already been appeased, come back later. So that means we've completed a task, and we just have to wait until the time limit comes back up, finishes, so we can get to the next section. So let's say our time limit is back at 0 now. We are now able to get a new task, so we'll press that again. This time, it'll go this way. And instead, same, another if statement here. This is going to replace that, and then this is the if statement here. This is going to test whether or not we have a task. So same thing as up there. If we have a task, then it's going to go this way. If we don't have a task, it's going to go this way. So obviously here, this is going to be the area where it randomly gives you a new task. I don't have that set up right now because the randomization is broken at the moment. But just for example, that's why I would just say getting a new task right now. So we do not have a task at the moment. So every time I press this, it's going to say get a new task. And this will basically assign us a task once we have that set up. And then on this side, we already have a task. So this is going to detect whether we've completed the task or not. Again, this is just another if statement. Task complete 0, task complete 1, and it's going to say task complete, or come back when you've completed your task if you have not completed it. So basically, this little section of command blocks here does everything that this section of command blocks did. As you can see, much more compact, and I can even make this more compact. I've got airspace here, and I can kind of stack these up on top of each other if I wanted to. I just laid it out flat like this so it's easy to see the motions of the if statements. Yeah, so I'm really, really enjoying working with these new command blocks here. So now all I've really got to do is I'm going to have to, gather these up together and kind of redo the tasks in this format, which actually wouldn't be that hard. And by the way, since these are chain command blocks, they only power in the direction that they're facing. So you can easily just copy these right like this. They can be right up next to each other, just like that. And they will not interfere with each other. So if I place that right here, this one's going to run. If I place that right here, this one's going to run. And they're not going to interfere with each other at all. So in order to have the 80 tasks or something that I need, I can just have these right like this. And I can even stack them right up on top of each other. Same way, just like this and this. Oh, these need to be these command blocks. Yeah, so I can stack them up on top of each other, and I can literally just have a block, and that block is all the tasks. So instead of having to have these things come all the way out and then all the way down, and I had to, because of the way these redstone torches and everything and the comparators worked up and the repeaters, I had to alternate these. So as you can see, every other one is pushed forward in order to make it so that way they wouldn't interfere with each other. Don't need to do that with these. I can have these right up next to each other, and I can pretty much fit all of these and all of these in an 80 block wide rectangle, or I can do a 40 block wide rectangle and have it 8 tall. So I mean, literally as compact as you can make it. You can't make it any more compact than that. There's not even any air spaces in this rectangle. So I'm going to have to do that, but I am going to actually separate them between easy, medium, and hard tasks. Since I've already got all the tasks laid out here, it's going to be really easy to pick whether this should be a hard task, a medium task, or an easy task, and then it'll be really easy to assign them. And then I just have to figure out the whole random number generation and everything, and then the actual information for when you complete the task and stuff like that. But that should be really easy, and we should be able to make this like so compact to what we had it before here. So yeah, this was a very talky episode here, but that's pretty much how it's going to run for a little bit here. I'm going to do a little bit off camera and pretty much just explain everything I'm doing to you guys. And yeah, so I'm just going to have to end the episode here. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.